dun 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 da yeah, I should know more of that. That's Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And the one thing I don't, I love classical music. The one thing I don't love about it is the pieces, if you will, referring to the music. Um, a lot of the titles aren't like they're just so unmemorable, except for like the Blue Danube. That's memorable, but a lot of the titles seem to just be I don't know, almost technological song speak. This is Huge Movie Fanatic Nate reporting on April 22nd of the year 2021. This is the very first show I'm starting at 7 p.m. Central because it was actually a nice day for the first time in like a couple weeks. So I went out and did some biking. I did way too much biking, as I often do in the spring, where when a rare nice day comes by, I want to take it, make use of it, and I end up making too much use of it, and I go too far, and then I gotta do a lot of walking back to give my legs a rest. But we always so far make it, we being me, always end up making it back. Iron Rooster's here. He says hello, welcome. I have a few topics here I could talk about. I wanted to. This is a very appropriate topic for this channel. One thing I wanted to talk about is the site that I'm pretty sure I've been using for probably the last 10 years, if not the last 10 years, very close to the last 10 years. For the last week, blue-ray.com has been down. Iron Rooster says, what was the temperature? I think it got up to like a whopping 63 degrees today, which, God, it's been below average temperatures the last couple weeks, which is why I started the show at 1 p.m. Central. So it'll be interesting to see, how many people show up for the 7 p.m. Central start time. I don't imagine it'll be very much. I'm sure the listeners from the UK or Europe probably possible they won't show up, seeing as how it's like, I think it's like 1 a.m. there. Iron Rooster says it was around 70 in Mississippi. That sounds great. Sounds great to me. So this will be a test to see how the 7 p.m. start times go for the show when it's actually nice weather in my neck of the woods. As I said, I got out today and got way too much biking done, and I'm kind of exhausted, but so far I'm doing okay. So as I was saying, for the last week or so, it might have, I don't know if it happened a week ago tomorrow or a week ago Saturday, but blue-ray.com's down. And that's a site that I've been going to several times a day, every day for the last 10 years. So it's a little disheartening to, once you get hooked on technology and or a website, a little disheartening to have that go away. If you're a big fan of movies and or Blu-rays, blue-ray.com might have been an important part of your life as well. So it's kind of a bummer. One of the things I loved about the site is it kept you updated on like sales, flash sales, stuff like this and that. Matthew Haggerty is here. He says, we are here. I don't know who we are, like you, yourself, and you. Iron Rooster says, wow, really? I check that site sometimes. Yeah, I go to blue-ray.com every single day, multiple times, just to check up on, the latest Blu-ray sales and or markdowns or whatever. So it's really disheartening for probably a user for the last 10 years to have happened. Supposedly they're working on it, but life goes on. So it's all about adjusting to changes in life, I guess. Matt says it's 2021, man. Logic doesn't matter anymore. We laugh out loud. Yeah, that's true. means whatever at this point. Laugh out loud. How's your Matt? How's your whatever thoughts regarding doing a new video and regarding which camera to use, video camera or iPhone camera going? Are you still being tormented by the options you have before you? I hope not. So I don't know. I guess there's not a whole much more to say about blue-ray.com being down. It's just kind of a bummer for us blue-ray.com users. But as I said, life goes on. In other news, the last show I mentioned something about wanting to revisit Chud 2. I've rewatched Chud 2 since the last show last week, and oh my god, I can't even remember last time I've seen it. It's been a really long time, and oh my god, it's just horrible. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, trying to be a cross between, I don't know what, Chud and Weird Science or something. It's trying to, like, follow in the success of the John Hughes kind of, My Science Project movies. Not that John Hughes did My Science Project, but like Weird Science, My Science Project, movies like that of the 80s that were about, youth getting involved in whatever kind of hijinks or whatever. Chud 2 is a disaster. I mean, that's just my opinion. Matt says, not being tormented, just putting off the video is all. I'm looking for property. Okay. Where are you looking for property at? So I would highly not recommend Chud 2 if anyone hasn't seen it, because Chud 2 is a bunch of malarkey. I mean, the thing is, maybe on its own, if you just called it something else, like not related to the first Chud movie, maybe it'd be okay. But just because it's like one of these sequels that's, a sequel to the first movie, and it's nothing like the first movie, it's just a bummer. Like I say, I think there's other movies that do that, sequels, like some other kind of sequels that do that, but I can't remember right now. Matt says, few states, West Virginia, Kentucky, etc., South Carolina. All right, well, good luck in your property search. So Chud 2, don't see it. Iron Rooster says, I found a cool little full moon box set this past weekend at Subspecies 1, 2, and 3. It was a whole $1, laugh out loud. Well, that's cool. I can only assume that's DVD. If it was a Blu-ray box set, that's a score. I think it's a score even if it is DVD. That's a good score. Have you seen those movies yet? I think the first 3 Subspecies are okay. Back in Full Moon's glory days when they're actually doing movies worth watching, as opposed to now. Iron Rooster says DVD. Yeah, still, it's still a good price for DVD. Have you seen those movies yet, or not yet? I'm not big on vampire movies, but Subspecies I always kind of liked, because it was like, Full Moon went over there to Europe and really filmed in, these European areas and this and that, and it just made it so much more authentic and better. Iron Rooster says, no, I've never watched them. That has Angus, I think he said Grimm, but I think he meant Scrim in it. Yeah, the first Subspecies, I think it's just like a cameo at the beginning, but that's better than nothing. Angus Grimm plays a part at the very beginning. I won't ruin any more of it for you, but if memory serves, he's just in the very beginning of the first Subspecies. Yeah, incidentally, I think I've got the Blu-ray box set of the first 3 that came out a long time ago, and I think that the Subspecies on Blu-ray is similar to the Puppet Master movies on Blu-ray. Like, maybe the first one isn't so amazing, but like 2 and 3 are. I mean, on Blu-ray, I haven't seen them for a while. Iron Rooster says, I just saw his name on it. That's why I picked it up. Okay, well, there's a few minutes of Angus Scrim at the beginning of the first movie. So, Enjoy. I don't imagine we'll have very many listeners this evening, as like half of them generally are from Europe, and it's probably, like I say, 1 a.m. in Europe right now. So, but we're doing pretty good with a whopping 2 people in chat here. Mm-hmm. Iron Rooster says, "You ever gonna start going back to any thrift stores?" Yeah, it's late in Europe. Because of everything, because of what they turned the world. I don't really want to get into it, but to answer the question, because of what they turned the world into last year, I pretty much only go pretty much only to buy groceries once a week, or I don't really do any, like, because I used to do half price books once a week, and that's kind of like my thrift storing. It's used movies and DVDs, Blu-ray and CDs and stuff. But once they started saying you got to suffocate yourself to be in there, I stopped going. So saves a lot of money. So I'm, for pretty much the past year now. Well, last year at this time they weren't even open, but when they opened back up, they said you got to suffocate yourself. So no, I don't. Pretty much the shopping I do nowadays, which is unfortunate because it's what they want everyone to do, is pretty much online. So, but I've got so many freaking, DVDs and Blu-rays that, in a way, I've got no right acquiring anymore. But I guess that's my answer to that question. I'm not big on the suffocating myself thing. Matt says, even getting outside. Yeah, I don't know if you heard what I said when I started the show, but the reason the start time was at 7 p.m. Central this week is because, in fact, it was actually nice out for the first time in a couple weeks. So it was up to whatever, 63 maybe, with a lot of sun. So I got out on the bike trail and rode way too far. But I made it back. I encountered a couple older gentlemen at a bench, and this one guy wanted to tell me that I have the wrong bike and the wrong tires, and I'm just like, well, it's worked for me for the past 16 years, so I think I'm good. Jesus Christ, it makes you just not want to fucking talk to anyone. Like, most of the time I talk to people, if there's an encounter, a brief encounter in public or something, it's just a disappointing conversation. It's like, I mean, I'd never fucking, tell someone on the bike trail that that's the wrong bike. You got to have this, you got to have that. I mean, shit, he's a cranky old guy about to turn 70, so I guess you can't blame him, but at least he lived, majority of his life before bullshit started. I mean, the bullshit of last year. I guess there's been plenty of bullshit before last year, but Matt says you should make them bring the groceries out to you. Don't go in there. Make them come out to you if they're going to do this bullshit. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that horse shit. I just let the old bandana sag. I've been letting it sag more and more as time goes on, because we're a year into this horse shit. So I just let the bandana sag these days. And if someone says anything, I'm going to try the identify as a robot thing, I think, because, in this day and age, whatever you identify as, you are. So if I identify as a robot, I am one. And Rooster says, yeah, I hear you, man. Do you have a Goodwill near you? I don't know. I imagine there's one near me. I've never been a fan of Goodwill personally. All the used clothes kind of just makes the stores I've been in just kind of smell, all the used stuff. So I've never been a fan of Goodwill, but I know it sounds like you got a lot of great finds at Goodwill, possibly the subspecies DVD set for $1. So I'm not going to knock Goodwill, but yeah, I'm personally not a Goodwill enthusiast. Matt says if everyone did that, then they couldn't afford to keep up this bullshit. That's true. Iron Rooster says, is the bike trail flat or a lot of hills? It's mostly, I'd say, flat, but that, you got some grades, which, I'm in it for real. I'm really in it for distance. So I've been, for the last several years, I've been walking up any grade just to save my energy for the distance. It's not very hilly, but there's some ups and downs and stuff. And if there's a bridge over a road or something, obviously that's an up and a down. But for the most part, it's relatively flat. Yeah, my problem is when it's a nice day, first nice day in 2 weeks. The reason I overdo it is because it's first nice day in 2 weeks, and you just want to take advantage of it. And going to the end is easy, but then you forget that, okay, so you have to go the equal amount of the way back and stuff. And I think the wind was blowing, against me on the way back, which doesn't help either. But because I went too far today, I walked, a considerable amount of the way back. And I had like 3 separate people ask if I'm okay, if I need help. And at first it was kind of nice, and it's just like after the third time it's just kind of almost annoying. But I mean, I guess it's technically a nice thing of these people to ask if I need help, I guess. So it's not like I respond annoyingly. I respond, no, I'm just resting, thanks. Resting as in walking, versus pedaling, because after a while the legs start to burn, you know what I mean? Matt says, I identify as beep free. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so funny how when it's to their agenda, to their advantage or part of their agenda, they're all about anti-discrimination, anti-bullying, anti all this stuff. Unless you're not conforming with their rules, then it's bullying and discrimination, and we're going to discriminate against perfectly healthy individuals. I mean, it's just so funny how people can't see things for what they are. Iron Rooster says, yes, some Goodwills are nasty. The ones in Memphis, Tennessee are horrible. Yeah, I think it's mostly because of all their used clothes. It just, in my experience, it fills the stores with an aroma of used clothes, which I don't really love. Matt says, I don't even remember what it's like to socialize with strangers, laughing my ass off. Yeah, in my experience, it's really not that amazing. I got to the spot and I was taking a break, and then these 2 older gentlemen rolled up, and Jesus Christ, it was not a pleasant interaction. I mean, it's not like it was a big deal, but I'm kind of sensitive to bullshit. So what's that line in iRobot? I'm allergic to bullshit. So I'm not sure I like socializing with, that kind of small talk bullshit in public on the bike trail. And it's just like, because in a way, I mean, it's like, what's the point of socializing with these 70-year-old guys? You're not going to start a real friendship with these guys. So I don't know. I'm not a small talk kind of a guy. Matt says, I hate going out anymore because of this shit. Yeah, basically, the last year I haven't been. Like I say, once a week or something, get some groceries, and that's it. My quote unquote shopping for pleasure, which is kind of pathetic if you think about it anyway, is pretty much over with. At least in stores physically. Iron Rooster says, "Oh hell yeah, biking can burn the hell out of your legs." Yeah, and once on the way back, today, when it got to that point, is when it gets to that point, that's when I get off and walk until I feel like I can get back on and do more pedaling. So I know I've gone too far when I've got to do that. The thing is, I was pretty acclimated. I went 2 or 3 times at the beginning of the month, and I was pretty acclimated. And then all of a sudden, it got all cold, and I haven't biked for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So then I got unacclimated and went too far. And well, as I said, I made it. Matt says, I love how I get the notification for your video going live just now, 17 minutes after you go live, laugh out loud. Oh, okay. Because I was going to say you've been here since almost the beginning, but you just got the notification now. Well, you got to love it. That's why it pays to keep an eye on my About page on my channel. That's where I update the start time of the show. I think I updated it last night, or I don't know. I updated it at some point. Oh no, I might have even updated it the day before because, the forecast was looking better and better and better for today being a biking day. Yeah, you can't really rely on the notifications from YouTube. Iron Rooster says my local Goodwill is actually pretty clean. Well, that's good. Get it? Good. Goodwill. Matt says, well, who the hell wants to talk to a bunch of old fucks? Yeah. It wasn't very pleasant. That's what I mean. Like, what's the point of even talking to people who you're not going to even, you're not going to start a relationship probably with anyone you meet on the bike trail, but especially people that are, have a foot in the grave. Matt says, can a young hot chick talk to me instead? Yeah. Obviously I've got a girlfriend, but that's, I had a girl ride by from the other way who was probably way too young that smiled at me. But it's funny how it's like, it's either, well, I've got a girlfriend and I don't cheat, but it's either old guys or too young of women. But like I say, I'm off the market anyway. But yeah, unfortunately, during the day, during the weekday, the hot chicks are most likely, at their slave school or slave job. So it's only old fucks that are out on the bike during the day, during the week. Iron Rooster says, are you interested in the new Mortal Kombat movie? My local drive-in is playing it in Godzilla this weekend. I think Matt, I don't know if Matt was the one who talked about the trailer for that a while back. I've never been a fan of the game. I never cared about the game. So I don't really care about the movie, but it's funny because the drive-in theater that's the closest to me is playing Mortal Kombat and Godzilla versus Kong as well, but it's going to be like highs in the fucking 50s this weekend. That means the low is even colder than that. So I'm not going to be going to drive-in theater this weekend. Probably won't be able to go to drive-in theater until May this year because April started nice and then it turned into a fucking freeze fest where it gets down into the 20s at night. So I'd go see it at the drive-in theater. For me, the drive-in theater, I'd go see movies at the drive-in theater that I'd never go see at the normal theater back. I'm talking about, pre 2020, just because of the drive-in experience. So I'd be open to see Mortal Kombat and Godzilla vs. Kong at the drive-in. They were playing Tom and Jerry. I wouldn't even go to the drive-in to sit through that shit. Of course, you don't have to turn the audio on. You can just sit and do other things while Tom and Jerry is going on. I just remember in the early 90s, was it 94 or something? Like everyone was just like playing fucking Mortal Kombat. It's just like, I never got into Mortal Kombat because I don't like just really fighting games. The only fighting games I like are the Godzilla ones. To me, those are really fun because you fight in cities and you throw the other monster into a building and everything comes crashing down. So my favorite fighting game is the Godzilla ones, but I've never been a fan of, the games or anything in Mortal Kombat. Matt says the game is but the movie looks good. Matt says, yeah, all the young hot chicks are at slave factories, laugh out loud. Yep. Nothing but old fucks during the weekdays. Yep. Us old fucks out on the bike trail. on a weekday afternoon. Iron Rooster says, I remember playing it on the Sega. Yeah, acquaintances I knew in the, I think, 94 or something like that had it on NES. Matt says, and hell, even out on weekends, you don't see many of them. Still nothing but old fucks. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, one thing that's actually this year pretty impressive is I don't think I've seen anyone suffocating themselves on the bike trail so far. This year, I've seen that a little bit last year. But, I like to think that, maybe people, at least not on the bike trail, have just had it with doing that shit. Iron Rooster says, yeah, Mortal Kombat was everywhere in the 90s. Yeah, I've never been really a follower. So to me, it's like if everyone is watching something or listening to something or playing something, I'm more likely just going to not do it just because everyone else is, And another thing is if everyone else is watching something or listening to something or playing something, it's most likely shit. But, not to knock anyone, that likes Mortal Kombat. I should put one of those disclaimers before every show that's the opinions herein do not reflect Huge Movie Fanatics Corporation or the subsidiaries. Matt says, I haven't met up with a chick since last year. Laugh out loud. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, what was it like last year? Was it after March? Was it, little necking and smooching and hand holding from 2 meters apart? And Matt says, and where can I even meet them now? How can I even see their face? Yeah, I feel so bad for the younger people. Matt says, it was after March. I met up with a few girls from the past and 2 from online. Take them back to the shed. All of them didn't buy into this bullshit, so it was no problem. Well, that's a relief. Matt says, no one got taken back to the shed. Ha, 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 I wish. Yeah. Matt says, because there was literally nowhere else to go. Yeah. The shed or stand here on the street corner. Or the parking lot. Iron Rooster says, you watched anything of interest this past week? Me and Beth have been watching so much on the weekends that I haven't really been watching stuff during the week. So, like I say, I think it was last Thursday night I watched Chud 2. That might have been the last thing I really watched. I can't remember what. I imagine Beth and I would have watched stuff over the weekend. I don't remember what we watched. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember what we watched. But usually when the weather warms up, of course it hasn't been very warm for the past 2 weeks, my watching stuff goes down and I'm outside more. Winter for me is the time to really watch stuff because there's nothing else to do. Yeah, about 30 minutes into the show, and as expected, of course, not to say that I don't appreciate Rooster and Matt, but it's just the 3 of us so far. Hoping for Summerhill, but obviously I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, Austin's here. Okay. I was, hoping for Austin as well. Matt says 4 here now, or 3. Yeah, back up to 4, which I think means 3. Like I say, I think you got to include yourself as one of them. Oh, 5 now. Iron Rooster says, I also got your notification late for some reason. Austin says, keep the stream going. Yeah, sorry, Austin. Goodbye, all. See you next week. We're only 30 minutes into the show. We can keep going for a while. Yeah, Matt's being funny. He says, whoa, 4 people, baby. Oh, shit, we lost that 5. Yeah, it's so funny how the show you can basically make a show around watching the people counter. It's like, up to 5. Oh, 4. Oh, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Oh, man. That you get, yeah, I'm going to just build a show around that. I think I'm just going to call you Rooster. Rooster says, we like to hear you talk, man. Laugh out loud. Well, thank you. Austin says, I had to check some YouTube messages first. I had a bunch. Matt says, but yeah, 3 people now. And the first one is you on the live streaming. Ha, 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 ha. Yep, that's true. Oh, Austin. 5. I see 5. Austin, you must have heard. Were you aware of blue-ray.com being up, back down to 4, being down for the last week or so? Because as I said, as I started the show with, I mean, I frickin' go to blue-ray.com several times every single day for the last 10 years. And it's really, at first, right after it went down, it was really kind of difficult to not be able to go there and see keep updated on the, Blu-ray, whatchamacallits, price drops or sales or whatever. But life goes on. Matt says you could sound like one of those horse betting guys. Haha, yeah. And Iron Rooster's coming around the bend. Matthew Haggerty's coming up close behind him. Matthew Haggerty says another comment. People are down to 3. Up. Or you could be doing auction. Down to 3. Do I see 4? And we're back up to 4. Is there 5? Do I see 5? Going once, going twice, going thrice. 4. Rooster says, speaking of Summerhill, he made a new video today, but I haven't checked it out yet. Yeah, I checked out a part of it. He's basically making a video about 2 Italian guys who used to work in the movie business who apparently died of the same day, which is really suspicious. I mean, what's the chance of that? Basically 1 out of 365 chance of both of them dying the same day. That have worked in all kinds of movies. I think one did all kinds of effects and stuff for Fulci zombie movies, among other kind of movies. And I think the other guy made posters or something. And he did a kind of tribute video for them. So I looked at a little bit of it. And yeah, pretty cool tribute video to these guys who have been purported to have died on the same day. So feel free, anyone listening now, or most of them listen after the fact, to check out Summerhill's video, whatchamacallit, commemorating their lives. Matt says, I think a 4th person keeps coming and going. Yeah, they don't know whether to, might be a cat. You know how cats will scratch at the door to go out, and then they'll scratch at the door to go in, and then they'll scratch at the door to go out. I think it's a cat who doesn't know whether or not to watch the stream or not watch it. Matt says, because you keep getting up to 5 for 10 seconds, then they leave, come back, leave. Yeah, it's a cat. Now I see 5. Hello, kitty. Back down to 4, yeah. Matt says, "Oh yeah, the auction guys is what I meant." Ha ha ha. Okay, yeah, I think that fit better. They talk real fast. Down to 4. Can I get a 5? Can I get a 5? Oh, we got a 3. Can I get a 4? A 4 up to 6. We got a 6. Got a 6 going once, so we got a 7. Can I get an 8? Yeah, I don't think we'll get an 8 today because it's late in Europe. But now we're at 4. Can I get a 5? That kitty, we're just gonna have to put those clockwork orange thing. Oh, this isn't it's okay. It's I was gonna say put those clockwork orange things on the cat's eyes and make them watch, but there's nothing to watch because this is a radio show. So we'll put those clockwork orange things on the ears and just tie the paws behind the cat's back. I'm seeing a hitchhiker. Thank you very much. And just make the cat listen to the stream. Maybe if I'm seeing 2 hitchhikers, thank you very much. Probably Matt and Iron Rooster. Whatever happened to, did I piss Austin off? He's usually not this quiet. I'm seeing 3 hitchhikers. Thank you very much. Do you mind sitting on the roof? I'm seeing 4. I didn't even know there's 4 people here. I'm seeing 4 hitchhikers. Thank you very much. Mind sitting on the roof because I don't have any room in the vehicle. Oh, Jesus. I'm seeing a 2 in the people counter. 2 in the people counter. Can I see it? Can I get a 3? Can I get a 3? Oh my God. Matt is just the nicest guy in the world if he's telling the truth. He says, I gave you a few thumbs up from my other YouTube accounts. Ha ha ha. Well, that is quite the gesture. I need a tissue. Because I was going to say, I don't even think there's 4 people here. That's really cool. That's a great idea. Yeah. Now I'm going to expect that every week. I think back when I started YouTube, I think that like if you made a video and you kept clicking like refresh yourself on it, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you could, like, if you just clicked refresh, it seems like in the old days you could raise the view count by just doing it yourself, which I think they've gotten rid of since, but I may be wrong about that. I mean, we're talking 07, 08, 09, 10 or whatever. I might be wrong, but it seems like back in the day, like if I just press refresh over and over and over on a video, that every single time it would add a view. Matt says people are like, he's buying likes. Nate is buying likes. Yeah, can I get a like? Can I get a like? Up to 4. Can I see a 5? 5 likes. Yeah, just pretty much talking about anything this week. Whatever, like I say, whatever has happened to Austin. Austin, your keyboard broke. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Matt says iPhone talk. Okay. Matt, how are you liking that iPhone SE? Are you getting used to it, or do you still miss the back button on your, was it Android device? Iron Rooster says, I mentioned I know what you did last week, so I revisited the movie this weekend. Have to say Jennifer Love Hewitt is so beautiful. Yeah, I'd say more hot applies to her, but beautiful works too. Yeah, I remember being real frustrated watching that back in the day. I should actually probably rewatch that too. I've got the DVDs of those movies. Yeah, it was so great when she did that thing in the middle of the street. It's in the trailer too, that famous thing where she puts her arms out and she's like, Where are you, huh? I'm right here. Come get me. I'm right here. And, she kind of jiggles her whole body, which makes something else jiggle. They put that in the trailer to get those, those male viewers with the money to buy movie tickets to come see the movie. But I think they did the same thing in the second one too. Where, here I am. Where are you? I'm right here. Come get me. I'm right here. Matt says iPhone 12 mini sales were down. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. How much, as much as I hate to, be all tech obsessed, but how I was like, someday I'd like to have a iPhone 12 mini, and I was thinking about that. God, if sales suck, they might discontinue it. Um, so, but maybe, yeah. Well, I guess I'll still live if I don't get an iPhone 12 mini. But it just occurred to me that they might not continue it. But maybe once they do their new line this fall, maybe it'll drop $100 or something. I mean, I don't really use iPhone as nearly as much as iPad, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, iPhone 12 mini is my favorite of the lineup. Austin says, "Have you seen any of the Godfather films on Blu-ray?" No, I have not. I've got quote unquote, the restored something or other versions on DVD. I'm not a I'm not a big huge fan of Godfather films. If I were if I were to ever to make a overrated movies video, that would be one of the trilogies that I'd bring up. I'm not huge on Godfather movies. Austin, did you hear my question about blue-ray.com being down for the last week? Do you go to that site at all? Has it affected your life like it's affected mine? Matt says, "What's with the people not wanting smaller phones?" Yeah, I don't know. Matt says, "Yeah, I'm getting used to it. I like it. I'm glad." Yeah, I like the whatever it's called, iOS operating system on Apple devices. Iron Rooster says, referring to Jennifer Love Hewitt, more beautiful than I remember, laugh out loud. Yeah, well, we're all getting older, and Jennifer's staying the same age in that movie. So that things work like that. It's just like, when I watched movies like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street when I was a kid, it's like the characters seem so old, and now it's like they're just so young. It's just so funny how everything's um, in regards to, like age and stuff, just relative depending on where you are at your own life currently. And it's just like high school kids look like they're freaking almost kindergarten kids now. It's just like, oh my God. Where am I? Matt says, I still wish it had a back button, but I work around it and it's not really a problem. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Iron Rooster says, yeah, hot, laugh out loud, referring to Jennifer Love Hewitt. And I don't know I know. I know what you did last summer. That would have been a funny parody of that movie. I don't know what you did last winter. Matt says, oh, I'll come get you, babe girl, wink. Yeah, that's what that trailer, that's all the guys said to that trailer too. Come get me, I'm right here, bounce. Iron Rooster says, I haven't watched the third movie in the series. Yeah, you're not missing anything. I mean, you just got to watch. The first two are the only ones worth watching because, Jennifer Love Hewitt's not in the third one. Iron Rooster says, what do you think of the 2004 Texas? It's actually 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Jessica Biel is pretty hot. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I like about it. I wasn't a big fan of the Chainsaw remake, but compared to what's come out since, compared to what Platinum Dune has, Platinum Dunes have done since, the Chainsaw remake is probably one of the better remakes. So, I kind of liked the prequel to the remake because it had another hot ass chick, some blonde with some big melons. She's a real ditzy character. I can't remember if yeah, I think it's that movie. She's like, "We're going on a road trip." Oh, that really unrealistic scene at the beginning of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning where that hot blonde is takes off her shirt. She's got like a bra on, and she's in a hotel room with the boyfriend. And she's like, "I'm going to do things that God never intended, or with my mouth that God never intended." And because the boyfriend's like all worried about being drafted in Nam, he's not really interested, and it's just like, oh my God, Nam or no Nam, you better. It's a shame to see him not be interested in her. Matt says, I don't think it's fair for them to say iPhone mini wasn't a success when the same year they came out with my iPhone SE 2020 version earlier and for way cheaper. Yeah, I think there's a decent amount of fans of iPhone 12 mini, but it's hard to say what they say in regards to its popularity is true. I mean, it might not even be true. Austin says, I have the Godfather restored DVDs as well. Yeah, that's all I've got. I think I bought them for my dad, and we way back when, and we watched them. And I remember we thought we were kind of because we kind of thought more of them when we were younger, and we watched them again, and we're just like, well, these aren't nothing. It's just like, I mean, not to say that they're horrible, but I think it's Godfather films are way overrated.
Do it.
A couple of times, over the years when the Godfather, I don't know, I think the set, the trilogy Blu-ray set's gone on sale or something. I pondered it, but I'm like, I don't even like these movies, so I didn't get it. Matt says, so anyone who wanted a smaller screen could pay hundreds less and get more or less just as good of a phone. Matt says they sold 24.2 million iPhone SE versus 64 million iPhone 11. So look how much that cut into the small phone market. The iPhone 12 mini would have had. Yeah, it's almost like too bad it's a bummer that the 12 mini, I mean, I think, a lot of people, me included, in a perfect world, the iPhone 12 mini would have been the SE. But they can't give us that full screen cool ass phone for $400, can they? Austin says, the third I Know What You Did Last Summer was direct to video trash, laugh out loud, awful movie. Yeah, I've got it, but I don't remember it being particularly memorable. Like I say, the only reason us guys watched the first two is Jennifer Love Hewitt, I guess. Rooster says there is a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming out and later in this year. Oh my God. See, the last one that came out, Leatherface, was the biggest joke ever. I reviewed it years ago. We'll see how that one turns out. I wonder if Blumhouse is doing it. Yeah, I knew nothing about that. Chainsaw movies have been some of the worst. The Chainsaw franchise is actually just fraught with some of the worst movies ever. Like I showed Beth the second one this year, and I couldn't believe how I was kind of a fan of it as I was younger, or when I was younger, but God, the second Chainsaw movie does nothing for me anymore. I like the first one, obviously, the best, and I like 3. I just showed Beth Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and I like that one. My dad and I saw that in the theater. Early 1990. I like Chainsaw 3. And I do like whatchamacallit, what the hell is it called? No, it's called Next Generation. Just for the low budget aspect of it, not so much. It's not really a good chainsaw movie, but I liked the low budget aspect of Chainsaw Next Generation. And after that, I mean, I don't know. For me, the movies are. I actually did like Texas Chainsaw 3D. I got the 3D Blu-ray. I think any Blu-ray is the 3D Blu-ray of that one because it's 2D and 3D combined. But I actually kind of liked the last Chainsaw movie. I actually kind of liked was Chainsaw 3D. The most recent Leatherface was the worst one ever. I mean, I'd watch Part Two. I'd watch Chainsaw whatchamacallit, Next Generation over and over before I'd ever want to see that most recent Leatherface again. Thanks for the heads up about the new Chainsaw Massacre coming out this year. I can only assume it'd be like September, October. Matt says they should drop the second camera from the iPhone 12 mini and drop the price a bit. Yeah, I think it's way too expensive. Especially, well, that's one of the good things about it being potentially not successful is with any luck they will drop the price to move them. But I think even if they dropped it, it wouldn't be enough for me to really even buy it. Rooster says, have you ever heard of the movie Don't Breathe? I think from 2016. I think the guy that directed and produced it is associated with the new Chainsaw Massacre coming out. Oh, is that the guy who did that Evil Dead remake? I think the guy who did Don't Breathe did the Evil Dead remake. So it makes me wonder if the new Chainsaw is a Sam Raimi produced movie. If that's a Ghost, what was his outfit? Ghost House Pictures or something? Sam Raimi's outfit. They put out Boogeyman and not the old Boogeyman, like the newer Boogeyman and Grudge and all this shit. Yeah, me and Beth saw Don't Breathe in the drive-in. It was worth seeing once, but I never seen it again. Yeah, because it was the director and the chick from Don't Breathe who would end up, or oh, never mind, I'm backwards. So the director and the chick from the Evil Dead remake went on to direct and be in Don't Breathe. Yeah, now I'm thinking Sam Raimi got the rights to Chainsaw and Ghost House is. Can you imagine if he puts out a PG-13 Chainsaw movie? That would really take the cake. Matt says, take out the. I love these shows. It's just multiple conversations. Take out the OLED screen too. Anything to save a bit of money and drop price down. Well, they're not interested in dropping price down. It's Apple. Matt says that Iron Rooster, that was well, I guess if I really did it right, I'd say if so, if it's the same guy, then I'm not looking forward to Texas Laugh Out Loud. But I don't think I think Don't Breathe wasn't PG-13, so I guess it could be R, because obviously Evil Dead remake and Don't Breathe I don't think were PG-13, so Chainsaw could be R. Rooster says, yeah, Matthew, I just thought Don't Breathe was just okay. Yeah, I mean, a movie to see at the drive-in. I was probably the second movie at the drive-in, because back in the old days, before bullshit started, they'd actually show 3 movies, which I thought was, I mean, almost too much, because if you're there in the midsummer, it doesn't even get dark enough to start the first movie until, I don't know what, 10? So it's just like the 3 movies, they don't do the 3 movies anymore. They just, from starting last year, they've just been doing 2 movies, which I think is fine because most people leave after the second movie anyway. Matt says it makes you wonder how many people out there in the boony parts of America are locked up in some psycho family house getting tortured. I know. So many people every year go missing, never to be found. Shit makes you wonder. Yep. Rooster says Chainsaw 3D had a cool poster. What's so cool about the Blu-ray release, or at least the ones that came out right after the movie, right at the initial release of the Blu-ray, is since it's a 2D/3D combo, the slipcover had a 3D, lenticular cover, and it's just like so cool. The Blu-ray for Chainsaw 3D, and you gotta love. Back to the women aspect, whatever the hell her name is in Chainsaw 3D. Well, the two of the women are okay. Rooster says the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre had no blood laugh out loud. Yeah, that's one of the best examples of a movie being like extremely violent without really, at the same time, without really showing anything. The first Chainsaw, I think, is just one of the best freaking American horror movies ever made. I keep saying that during shows. That's a movie that I haven't seen for a while that really deserves a rewatch. First Chainsaw. I actually got an autograph, and none of you are going to know who the hell this is, but from Paul Partain. He's the guy who played Franklin. He's no longer with us. I think he died in 05 or 06 or something like that. But there was this guy who ran, I can't remember what the website was called, Tim Harden. He ran TexasChainsawMassacre.net or something. And he, I think it was him who was selling Paul Partain autographs. But I got a Paul Partain autograph of him in the black and white, still with 8x10 with him in the wheelchair with the coffee can pissing into it signed. So, Paul Partain autograph. Get back and push down. And I was emailing with Paul Partain at the early 21st century, and at one point he's like, I still got that knife from the movie, and I'm selling it for the right price, and he wouldn't give me a starting price. I'm like, $100, I'd email him $100, and then I'd get a response, not enough. And then $150, get a response, not enough. It's like, give me, Paul, give me a starting price. Not that I'd really pay any more than $150 or $200 for the supposed screen used, knife from Texas Chainsaw. But it was just funny how he, it's like, well, we're going to just go back and forth on the price of this knife forever, or can you give me a starting price? Not enough. I can just hear him saying that. Not enough. But good old Paul Partain, a.k.a. Franklin, from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Matt says, have you ever seen the number of people gone missing, never to be found every year? Never hear that shit from the news. I mean, I don't know where. No, I don't. I don't know where I'd hear that number from anyway. And even if they did put a number out, how do you know it's a true number? Rooster says, I wish the original poster I think he means I wish I had the original poster for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Rooster says, that's a cool autograph. He was trying to get the most out of it. Laugh out loud. That knife would be worth a ton now. Way more than 150. Well, that's what I said. I mean, obviously, if he's saying he's gonna sell something, I mean, obviously you start low. You don't go, okay, $5,000. So anyway, it's funny because my mom's dad, I found a knife that was very similar to that, at his place, and I'm like, well, this is good enough, because you never know if it was the screen used knife for real or not. Anyway, it makes you wonder whatever the fuck happened to it. Probably just ended up at Goodwill. I mean, if he died with this knife, it just went in the trash or went to Goodwill or something. Can you imagine? Oh my God. I have this knife. It's a good knife. I'm sure it is, man. You keep it. Hey, put that knife up. Austin says, if the number is true, it's probably because of human trafficking that's going on underground. I don't think he means underground. Oh, do you mean underground as in like below our feet? Like I say, I mean, with the people disappearing numbers, I mean, how do you know that that number is accurate? All right, everyone, approaching an hour into the show right now. I don't know if we're gonna go. I don't know. We'll see how long. I don't think I'm gonna go. I don't think I'm gonna go. Just for a heads up, I'm probably not gonna go 2.5 hours tonight. We can possibly go another hour depending on the whatchamacallit. The what's it called? This is a problem with doing a show at night. I can't think. Participation. Last week, the last 30 minutes was really dead. I should have ended 2 hours in on it. I just like, I don't know why I went another 30 minutes. So why don't we at this point, unless all kinds of people show up, at this point we'll say another 29, not 29, 59 minutes or so of show left. I don't know if this is a funny question or an honest question. Matt says, has anyone here tried the new chicken sandwiches at McDonald's? I mean, I haven't eaten anything from McDonald's for a better part of a decade. So that's my answer to that. Rooster says, yeah, think of all those all the props from Friday, Halloween, and Elm Street just sitting in basements somewhere, not to mention all the ones that got thrown away. I know. I just wonder if Paul Partain ever sold the knife or if he just took it to his grave and then they just threw it out. Ugh. Matt says, referring to the McDonald's chicken sandwiches, they taste exactly like a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I guess I can't say I know what that tastes like. Is that a good thing? Austin says, yep, underground. That's how they keep it out from the public eye. Research it. It's pretty fucked up stuff. So kind of like the movie Us and Chud. Yeah, there's a whole lot of fucked up stuff going on out there in the world or under it or whatever. Rooster says, I'll stick with the Big Mac. And Matt says, it's a very good thing. It tastes like a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Okay, well, I'm glad. I don't eat McDonald's, but I'm glad that you like it. Matt says, think of how many NASA props are sitting in the basement somewhere. Yeah, those little miniatures for the moon rover and lunar lander. Oh, my knees. Well, I think I'm done asking Austin about if he heard about blue-ray.com being down for the last week. He don't seem to give a fuck. Austin says no, they do it in underground bases / tunnels. There's tons of them. Well, that's too bad. Matt says NASA makes the most expensive space movies ever if you go off their budget. Laughing my ass off. Yeah. I still think that's so pathetic. Even if it were true, which it isn't, fucking sending shit off to other planets and driving around on other planets, like, while this planet's just getting more and more fucked up. Makes a bunch of sense. How about this? When maybe we fucking don't send shit, not that they're really doing it anyway, but how about we don't spend money on this shit and try to better the fucking planet we're on now, but that make too much sense. Austin says, I did say something about the Blu-ray site that went down. Is YouTube censoring it? Laugh out loud. Yeah, maybe, it could be that I missed it. I can't say I try to see as I scroll up, I try to see every comment. It's possible what you said was censored by YouTube. Yeah, as I'm scrolling up, I don't see anything about it or that you said about it. Matt says they'll probably fake some alien invasion coming this year or next. They are really ramping up the alien propaganda now. Yeah, I heard about that. That it seems to me it was last New Year's Eve or something. There's a video. I think on the worldwide internet of this amazing, quote unquote amazing, like at the Space Needle, some kind of I don't even know what you want to call it, like a hologram display or something like that. So the stuff they can do with holograms on a big level is pretty something. So I wouldn't put it past them to. A lot of people are saying that someday they're gonna fake an alien invasion with hologram technology. Then it was in like some Marvel. Oh, it was in the second most recent Spider-Man. Was it called the second most recent Spider-Man movie where there's some character who had like a weaponized hologram or something where he actually was hiding these. I don't know. I saw it years and years ago, but hiding weapons underneath I don't want to say anything about it because I don't remember exactly what it is, but I think that just my thing I mentioned about being a weaponized hologram thing says enough. Yeah, it's hard to know what the hell they're gonna do to us next. It's hard to know. Pretty consistent four. That must just be Rooster, Matt, and Austin, and myself. Thanks for showing up, everyone. Glad everyone's here. I guess it's not the biggest disaster. Because part of me was like, depending on how the turnout was for the starting at 7 p.m. Central show goes, part of me was like, if it's really shit, maybe I'll just skip a show if it's nice out. But I think this is worth showing up for. Expect possibly the same thing next week. Might be another nice Thursday next week. We'll see. As always, keep an eye out on the About page of my YouTube channel to be kept up to speed about the show start times every week. But it'll probably be like either 1 p.m. or 7 p.m., 6 hours later, depending on the weather. But, yeah. Rooster says, I think Marta Koblar has the head that was in the fridge from part 2. I think someone or she said that in the extras of the new Friday box set, no telling where it is now because she probably pawned it. Yeah, have you seen her recently? She's probably on major drugs. And yeah, if she really had that, I'm sure she's long since sold it for some heroin money. Oh yeah, Iron Rooster. beat me to it. He says for crack. Okay, I'm not up on all the drugs, but that probably sounds more correct. Yeah, there's videos out there, her just I don't know what, doing porn, and oh my God, why couldn't she have made that when she was 18? Until she's got to wait. Bruce just says, wasn't she the one that was like 16 in part 2? Yeah, 16 or 17. Yeah, yep, she was Sandra from Friday 2, and in my opinion, the hottest from Friday 2. I can say this because she's old now. so I'll say that. Okay, since I'm kind of late, Matt says, "Oh, geez, thanks." I don't know what he's thanking me for. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. That's one of the disadvantages to chat, is if you're too late in reading someone's comment, you don't know what the hell he's talking about. Matt says there are still listeners that listen to your show after the fact too. Yeah, that's another thing. I got to keep reminding myself that, and from what I understand, a lot of people are commuting, driving around with huge movie fanatics Nate in their car speakers. That's just kind of cool. Or maybe just streaming out of the speakerphone. I don't know, but the phone speaker. That's true. I got to keep reminding myself that just because only 3 people show up during the show doesn't mean that people don't listen later on. That's a good point. I got to keep reminding myself of that. Yeah, Matt brings up a very good point to keep me doing a show once every week. He says, so if you skip weeks, they miss that, meaning, as well, meaning the ability to listen to it after the fact. That's true. You're good at guilt tripping me into doing one every week. Well, so far I think this 7:00 start time one's going okay. Austin says, I've seen Marta recently. She looks nothing like she did in part 2. Looks like what she does. A crackhead. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah. And then she just got all skinny, and yeah, there's videos of her out there doing whatever she has to do for crack. Yeah, from what I understand, they actually filmed Marta, topless for the sex scene in Friday 2, and then later on they found out that she was like under 18, so they couldn't use it. There's movies that I've seen, since where, I obviously must have been after I can't remember if I don't remember. I've seen another movie with her in that was relatively soon after Friday 2. I can't remember if she showed anything in it or not, but Marta was fun back in the early 80s. I mean, yeah. All right, guys, approaching 1 hour and 15 minutes in the show, about 45 minutes remaining. Once we get to 1 hour and 15 minutes into the show. Rooster says, I think the hotness for Amy Steele was overrated. How was she a model in New York? Yeah, a lot of people, she's like my least favorite final girl, probably the whole, first 8 movies, or at least in appearance. I'm right with you there. I never thought Amy Steele was anything amazing to look at. Like, when she took off, the shirt and put the robe on in Friday 2, I mean, she looks like she's 13. So I agree. I don't, for me, Amy Steele was never anything amazing. Like, for me, I mean, I don't think Adrienne King was necessarily amazing in the first movie to look at either, but she's just got that classic, like, late 70s, early 80s hairdo. And I just love, Adrienne King in the first movie. For me, the final girls didn't really get crazy hot until 3 with Chris, the character of Chris. She's the female final girl character. for me, she was like the first final girl in the Friday movies that was just like, oh my God. Now there we go. That big, fluffy, full 80s hair and all this other stuff. And then I don't know if her name could quite possibly be Kimberly Beck from, which is, I guess, kind of the final girl from Final Chapter. You know, I'm not crazy about blondes, but she was attractive. Anyway, Rooster says King, meaning Adrian King, was cute. Yeah, I probably more so than Amy Steele. Amy Steele, out of all of the final girls in the Friday movies, or at least the first 8, was not that amazing to look at. But I guess I said my piece on that. All right, everyone, about T-minus 45 minutes of show left and counting. Unless, of course, Matt makes more YouTube channels and, thumbs up more. I get more thumbs. More thumbs up the... Matt says laugh out loud. Give him more thumbs up. The you know what. Yeah, that's why I like to call them hitchhikers, because thumbs up. It's just like thumbs up what? Might be YouTube's, subtle sexual nastiness. Rooster says, who do you think the best director is for the Friday 13th movies besides part 1? I'd say after 1, Joseph, I still wish I could pronounce his last name correctly, Zito, the guy who made, because, if you don't know, my favorite Friday movie after the first one is Final Chapter. So I think he's my second favorite director, and third favorite probably have to be good old Danny Steinman, or however the hell you say his name, New Beginning, and probably just on down the line, then 6, then 7. Probably. But I love, what Joseph Zito, whatever, did with Final Chapter. He was kind of warming up with the Prowler, which, there's good things about the Prowler, but then there's stuff that's boring about the Prowler. But he was kind of warming up with the Prowler, just getting ready for his opus of Friday the 13th, the Final Chapter. Yeah, Iron Rooster says Zito, whatever, done a couple of Chuck Norris movies also. Yeah, he did Missing in Action, and did he do Invasion USA? I can't remember. I know he did Missing in Action. That's another series of movies that I got to start now as the weather warms up, is the good old Friday the 13th. I generally do 1 through 7 and then just repeat, because for me, they stop at 7. Like, part 8 is fun for certain reasons, like as the first one I saw in the theater with my dad, but mostly I go on 1 through 7 and then back to 1 and then just repeat with the Friday the 13th films. I was just riding the bike home today, and I just have to keep reminding myself, I can't believe I actually own the third movie in real Blu-ray 3D. I just have to, it's just, thank you, Scream/Shout Factory, for finally making that dream come true. You know what I rewatched the other night? Was Drive-In Massacre, the Severin Blu-ray. The Blu-ray looks amazing, but I used to kind of like that movie, and God, that's a shitty movie. I mean, it's it's dumb, stupid fun, but I don't know. It's getting less fun and more dumb as the years go on. It's just like shit. Drive-In Massacre. I personally think the movie from 1999/2000 shot on video movie by the name of simply Drive-In, which I've reviewed on this channel, is much better than Drive-In Massacre. You've actually got, for its budget, you've actually got some, kind of fun characters, a lot going on in the movie simply titled Drive-In, which is another shot on video, straight to video horror movie that takes place at the drive-in. Rooster says, I remember watching a Steve Miner interview of him complaining that he couldn't even get a Chuck Norris in the 80s. You must mean Chuck Norris movie to direct. Rooster says, I want to who gave Jason his mask. Oh, you want to know who gave Jason his mask? Yeah, I'd say that he says there's not a definitive answer. From what I understand, it's the character of Shelley, who is the prankster in part 3. 3 is the one Jason got his mask from in the barn. You don't see it on screen, but Shelley goes to investigate a noise in the barn at Higgins Haven in the 3rd movie, only to never be, well, actually he is seen again later on with his throat slit, but then Jason comes walking out onto the dock with the harpoon to then kill whatever the hell her name is. I can't remember her name. Yeah, can't remember her name. So that's where he got the hockey mask from, the character of Shelley. Shelley brought the hockey mask to the lake, and Jason took it from him. Rooster says, I think I've only watched half of Drive-In Massacre. Yeah, I'm surprised you made it that far in. It's basically, the whole movie is basically filler with, some dumb, goofy-ass kills at the drive-in. That's it. Oh, my God. That movie is just shit. It's... I have a hard time trying to decide if that's a so bad it's good movie. Like I say, as the years go on, there's much, much less good about Drive-In Massacre and more bad. It's just like, oh my God. Austin says, I'm glad Scream Factory did a proper Halloween H2O Blu-ray with the correct aspect ratio. Yeah, I am as well, although I think I pretty much stopped watching H2O, to be honest. I kind of stop after 3 these days. I might do. I've been doing 4. I guess I go to 4 because of old. What's her name? I can't remember her name. The sheriff's daughter. But I can't really stand 5 much anymore, so I pretty much go to Halloween 4 and leave it at that. Oh, actually, now that Halloween 2018 is out there for us to quote unquote enjoy, I actually pretty much go to Halloween. I'll do Halloween 1, 2, and 4, and then I'll do 2018 just for fun. Oh, okay. Rooster clears up his comment. He says, shit, I can't type. Haha. Yeah, I'm talking about whose idea was in the production team to give him his mask. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know. That's the mystery that we'll just never know. Austin says, as a kid, I always thought Jason's mask in part 9 was metal, but looking at it as an adult, it's just kind of silver colored plastic mask, or just dry or dirty / aged. You're talking about that because the poster makes it look like a metal mask, but I never thought it looked metal in the movie. Austin says, I wasn't that impressed with Drive-In Massacre. Yeah, it's mostly filler with a few dumb, goofy kills. Austin says, I usually stop after Halloween 6. Yeah, I can't really make myself watch anything much after 4 these days. Like 5 is kind of 5 and 6. I used to watch 5 and 6, but oh my God. Matt says, hopefully Halloween Kills is good. Yeah, I agree with that. I was, there's things I don't like about Halloween 2018, but compared to, what most shit's coming out these days, it's, at the end of the day, it wasn't horrible. And I've been watching it every October ever since it came out. And that was one of the things I was just pissed off about last year, because like the movie I was most interested to see last year was Halloween Kills, and now we got to wait until this year, and hopefully we can fucking see it this year, because I am interested in what the hell they do with it, and kind of excited. Well, I think interested is a better word than excited about that movie. But I think I asked people in the chat last time this topic regarding Halloween Kills and Ends came up, and maybe no one knows, but does anyone know if they filmed Halloween Ends yet, or if they just filmed Halloween Kills? Because to me, it would make more sense to, if they had filmed them both at the same time. Because from what I understand, or from what I know, they only filmed Halloween Kills. And now with everything going on, who knows if Halloween Ends will ever be filmed. But like I say, hopefully they're both filmed at the same time. But Halloween Kills is still, my most anticipated new movie that I want to see. I was really pissed off when we couldn't see it last year. It'll be interesting to see, that production team continue that quote unquote story. Like, how can they drag it on? how can they drag it on for 2 more movies? Austin says Slumber Party Massacre and Blood Rage are much better than Drive-In Massacre. Oh my God, you can say that again. Well, Slumber Party Massacre is one of my favorite slasher movies. So I'll definitely agree with that. Blood Rage is a riot. Yeah, I mean, they're in a whole different league from Drive-In Massacre. Austin says, yeah, on VHS, Jason's mask looked kind of metal to me, but on DVD/Blu, it's clearly plastic. Yeah, if you watch my little showcasing of the Scream Factory, Blu-ray of Jason Goes to Hell from the collection, I think I mentioned in that video that I always hated the cover, that poster/cover of, because the metal mask with that stupid snake thing slithering in and out of the fucking thing. I always thought that cover sucked. Poster/cover. Brewster says, I know I've said this a million times, but I'm still pissed they pushed it back, it meaning Halloween Kills. Exactly. Brewster says, I'm not sure about the filming question. Yeah, one can only assume they filmed both of them at the same time, because I think at the time of them filming Kills, they knew they were going to do Ends. So I hope they filmed both of them at the same time. Austin says, I still haven't seen Slumber Party Massacre Part 3 yet. Yeah, Part 3 is my second favorite. I like it more than the second one, because it's no freaking, driller killer with a drill guitar in your dreams bullshit. Part 3 is fun. It looks like it could be possibly filmed in the same set that Sorority House Massacre 2 was filmed in. I think they were filmed relatively the same time. Same production company and everything. But yeah, Slumber Party Massacre 3 is fun. Matt's referring once again to Halloween Kills. Yeah, push back one whole goddamn year. I was also pissed about Quiet Place 2 pushed back. Quiet Place 2 was coming out March of last year, supposed to, yeah. Austin says, not sure why they made Jason's mask metal on Part 9's poster. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I said that in my showcasing of the Scream Factory Blu-ray of it. I'm like, why is this mask metal? It's not metal in the movie. What's this worm slithering in and out of the eye hole and the eye holes? This worm isn't in the movie. It's just like, this poster sucks. All right, everyone, approaching 1 hour and 30 minutes in the show, probably about 30 minutes remaining as I'm since it's not early afternoon, I'm actually getting kind of tired. I'd expect, more or less shows, maybe more around the 2 hour time, maybe moving forward. Because like I say, last week things were kind of dead at 2 hour mark, and I kind of just dragged it on for 30 more minutes. All right. Exactly. Well, not anymore, but more or less 30 minutes of show left, everyone. Thanks once again, everyone, for showing up. And Matt's purported using his other channels to add more thumbs up to the video. I appreciate that. Remember, was it during the first Nate and Beth show? I think Matt noticed during the show that someone had thumbed it down. He's like, someone thumbed it down. He was champion, championing the channel and or the radio shows, giving us the heads up live. It's like, who the fuck thumbed it down? That was fun. Someone who doesn't like listening to pointless banter, apparently. Jerk. So here's something that happened since the last show. I got the most recent, recent Offspring CD by the appropriately titled, what's it titled? Let the Bad Times Roll. And this is the first Offspring album in 9 years. And I've only listened to it once, but so far, I think it's probably, my least favorite Offspring album, but that's okay. I mean, what the hell do you expect them to do at their advanced age? But I mean, it's funny how, there's 12 tracks on this thing. I'm holding it right now. And one of them is a piano cover of Gone Away. The other one's just a very brief instrumental guitar cover of In the Hall of the Mountain King, and then track 12 is called Lullaby, which is like a minute. I think it's a minute and 12-second long track of just, I don't know, whatever, instrumentation and just some vocals that are, vocals that you heard previously, and I think in the song Let the Bad Times Roll. So basically in 9 years, all they can give us is 9 new songs, because I don't really count, 3 of these tracks. And it's just like the only tracks I listened to twice, which are among my favorite on the album, are just I'm more of a, when I hear a song first, I hear I'm not really listening to lyrics. I'm listening to the way it sounds, the instrument, the way it goes instrumentally before I hear lyrics. So in that, listening to it in that mindset, the tracks Opioid Diaries and Hussein Chop are probably among my 2 favorite. Then I read tracks on the album, and I'm kind of glad they're back to back, that they kind of close out the album. But yeah, I mean, what do you expect from Offspring in 2021 after all? Obviously their glory years are far behind them, but it's just goofy how after 9 years, I mean, it's just like all they can give us is 9 new tracks, like 1 track a year. It's like, come on. And apparently I didn't know about it until I got this. They're apparently no longer on Sony for the very first time since frickin' Ixnay. Now they're on Concord Records. I don't know who the hell's record company Concord Records is, but not, it's a 33, in true punk rock fashion, a mere 33 minutes long and some seconds, but at least I guess there's some kind of cool tracks on there. But overall, it's just like, Incidentally, Offspring, was the band that actually kind of got me into punk rock, and the band that really let me know that it even existed. An acquaintance of mine lent me Americana in 1999, and you know that then the rest is history. Then I would get the rest of the Offspring albums going backwards at that time. Ixnay, which is my favorite Offspring album, and Smash and Ignition and Self-Titled. And Offspring at the time would become my favorite band. Incidentally, if you want to hear a good punk rock album from the last couple of years, Bad Religion's latest, by the name of Age of Unreason from 2019, is actually really good. So just because a band is getting on in years, Bad Religion has been a band that has proven album after album for the most part that just because the band is getting on years, or getting on in years, or however the hell you say it, doesn't mean their stuff has to necessarily get lackluster. I mean, more, I'd say Age of Unreason, the most recent Bad Religion album, is pretty freaking great all around. So not so much let the bad times roll from Offspring, but Nate would highly recommend Age of Unreason. You can listen to all the tracks of Age of Unreason on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. Okay, now I'm way behind on chat. Rooster says, which franchise do you like better, Texas Chainsaw or Halloween? You know what? I might have to. That might have to be a tie. I don't watch Chainsaw as often as I should, but I regard the first Chainsaw, Texas Chainsaw, as just being one of the best American movies ever. I'd say that'd have to be a tie. That's a good question. For right now, why don't we just call it a tie? Rooster says, let the good times roll. The Cars, laugh out loud. I don't know what that means. Matt says, gotta keep them separated. Exactly. Oh, is the Cars a band? Rooster says, I'm a fan of the Cars. Rooster says, I like Offspring too. Matt says, I'm headed to bed, Nate. Good show. Thank you very much, Matt, for showing up. Appreciate it sincerely. Hope you're still here to hear that. If not, oh well. I said it. Rooster says, have you ever watched the movie Eddie and the Cruisers? I used to love that movie. I don't think I have. I guess, to be honest, I'm not huge on movies about musicians and stuff. Austin says Friday the 13th soundtracks are kind of expensive on CD. Yeah, I got that right after it was released, and I said the wrong place in a show date or weeks back. I said Diabolic DVD. I meant Dark Delicacies. Right after that Friday the 13th, like 1 through 6 box set CD of the first 6 Friday 13th movies CDs were released. I was, they had several people, that were a part of the franchise at Dark Delicacies in California signed them. And I was really, really fortunate not long after that came out and was signed to actually nab one on eBay. And that thing's I haven't looked recently, but it's got to be worth quite a bit now with all the signatures. And I've been meaning I said this in a past show, I tried several years ago to do a video showcasing it, and it just didn't work out. I wasn't in the cards for that day or year, apparently. I've been meaning to do another video, or to do a video showcasing that. It's signed on the cover by frickin' Harry Manfredini. I can't remember who all signed it. I think Adrian King may have signed it. Whatever, I can't remember his name right now. Richard Brooker, who was Jason from Part 3, who's purported to no longer be with us. And I want to say that the director of Part 6 did, and his wife, because his wife was an actress in that movie as well. And so I'm a proud owner of that. I'm going to show you guys at some point. But that's a great release. I can't remember. Is it La La Land? I can't remember the quote unquote record outfit that put that out, but that's a release that I've been waiting for a long time. And I'm glad to have and signed. What's great about that release is it's not only signed on the cover by Harry Manfredini and then like on the back by others, but then there's a booklet in it that's also signed by, so it's got two signatures from everyone on the the cover and the back cover, and the booklet signed by everyone. So that's really cool. Austin says, I do think Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is a little better than Part 2. Yeah, I don't know if you heard me say that earlier, but I agree. I think I'd much rather, to me, I kind of like to think that 2 doesn't exist. It's just like the first one and then the third one. And what's interesting about the third one, ever since I saw it, I'm like, I can't remember if it's the same leg, but you know how Leatherface cuts his own leg at the end of the first movie? One thing I liked about 3 is he's got this leg brace, and I can only assume it's on the leg he cut in the first movie. And if so, that's a little bit of like, I can only assume that's intentional, whatchamacallit, a nod to the first movie. So I agree. Chainsaw 3 is much better, in my opinion, than 2. Rooster says, yes, the Cars is an American rock band. Okay. Rooster says, Chainsaw 3 is underrated. I agree, having just recently revisited it again. I've got just the DVD, which has the both cuts, theatrical and unrated or extended. Austin says, do you remember when Gateway had the VHS rights to Friday 13th in the 90s and released them in crappy extended play mode? Yeah, Iron Rooster sure does, because I guess he found a bunch of those sealed at probably a Goodwill or something. I was lucky enough to get them all on VHS before Gateway did that, so I've got the standard play normal releases. But yeah, I remember that. God, such a joke, actually selling extended play tapes of movies. When I worked at Suncoast, we actually had like a $10 section. God, I wish I had photos or videos of this stuff. But there was actually because it was just VHS mostly when I worked there in the mid 90s. We had a $10 section. I don't know if it was a $10 and under, but that was the section you wanted to avoid, because that was all the extended play, long play VHS tapes. And it was just like, oh man, what a joke. Rooster says, I always miss out on limited editions, laugh out loud. Yeah, I think most people do. I was just lucky that I was looking at the right place at the right time on the worldwide internet at that time to nab that on eBay, to know about it and to find one on eBay. Austin says, I guess Gateway were cutting costs. From what I understand, EP/LP, tapes are less expensive to produce. I guess one can only assume because they're using less tape. So the cheapy tapes will be in either extended play, or if you're lucky, long play, which is the middle. There's EP, LP, and SP, of course, on VHS. Rooster says Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 has some cool promotional material. There is a 6-foot Leatherface standee for the VHS release. Yeah, cool. Austin says even EP looked pretty bad. Or even back then, EP looked pretty bad. You goddamn right it did. I mean, shit. I thought it was just a travesty that they could actually sell new VHS tapes that were recorded in extended play. I mean, good luck ever getting tracking off the screen, it comes down to a point of, where do I want the tracking, on the top or the bottom? All right, everyone, getting close to T-minus 15 minutes and counting until the show's end. I'm afraid I'm just dead, and since it's like close to 9 p.m. and I was way too active today outdoors on the bike trail, I'm just dead. I'm gonna probably just end the show and have maybe a bite of something to eat before bed, and just crash and burn. That's still a full moon movie that that they need to put on Blu-ray. One of the better ones from the glory years. Rooster says it's has skulls at the bottom of the standee and looks like Leatherface is standing on them. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. That's interesting. Could probably find an image on the worldwide internet. Austin says back then, with movies like Hellraiser 1 and 2, Star Maker, the EP was pretty much all you could buy at the time. Yeah, I've got that. Actually, no, I got it and returned it. He says, thank God DVD came out soon after. Yeah, I can remember in the early 90s buying that. There was a Star Maker double cassette, release of the first two Hellraiser movies on extended play tape. And what I didn't really look at before I got the tape is the cut of Hellraiser 2 was the R-rated version. And I made a big stink about it. And I went, I bought this at Suncoast. This is before I worked at Suncoast. And I made a big stink about it, saying that this is the R-rated version. I thought it was the unrated version. And the guy even put like the wrapping back on and kind of said, well, look, the price doesn't cover up the fact that it's R. And I made such a big stink out of it. He reluctantly let me exchange it for the standard play Paramount VHS release of Friday the 13th, 1980. I kind of wish I would have kept it just for whatchamacallit, just a keepsake to show you guys. But who the hell wants to even own a extended play movie on VHS and the R-rated cut of Hellraiser 2 to boot? Yeah, I can remember that now. I haven't thought about that in a long time, that section that was devoted to $10 VHS tapes, and they were extended play, LP, just crap. Austin says, that was the Clive Barker Collection 2 tape set. I can't believe they didn't put the unrated cut in that set. I know. I was disappointed when I got it because, I think the only version that I'd really seen rented from the video store at that time was the unrated one. And I guess as a kid at that time, I don't know when that would have been, 91 possibly, or 90, 91. I mean, I didn't even know that there was an R-rated version of Hellraiser 2 out. Yeah. I'm glad I got that guy. This is probably the guy that ended up hiring me a couple years later. I'm glad I got to exchange it for Friday the 13th, 1980 VHS. But as I said, it'd be kind of wish I still had it just to, make a video about it and complain about it, but that's okay. Austin says, did Suncoast not carry the unrated cut of Hellraiser 2 at that time? I can't remember. I mean, I can only assume they didn't. Otherwise, I would have exchanged it possibly for that. The two movie collection on extended play tape for that. Rooster says, speaking of Friday VHS, I want a Friday the 13th Part 2 gatefold VHS. Have you seen that video I did where I showcased my Friday VHS and I've got the first two movies with that gatefold? Yeah, those are cool. Rooster says those are harder to find than the Part 1 gatefold. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got them at, I worked at a mom and pop video store, and The owner had 2 stores, and then they closed down one of them. And I think those two, the first 2 Friday VHSs with the gatefold came from that store. So and the owner was selling everything at the last remaining video store that I worked at, and you can bet that I snagged those 2 up really quick. I'm like, mine. Rooster says, yes, I watched it. Awesome. Okay, yeah, that's where those 2 the 2 first 2 Friday VHS gatefolds I got came from, was the video store that I worked at. They had 2, and they closed one store and brought all the tapes to the store I worked at to sell them. Austin says, Star Maker did correct it, though, when they re-released the Clive Barker collection VHS in 94 that did indeed have the unrated cut. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Was it extended play? Probably still extended play. Rooster says, I have a Friday the 13th Part 2 normal Paramount sealed. Well, that's really cool. All right, guys, about T-minus 10 minutes and counting, if I can even make it. Oh, that's one of the, I guess, downsides to doing shows at night, is that I could fall asleep before the show's over, and then you just hear me snoring. Rooster says, laugh out loud. Austin says, yep, it was extended play, but still better that it had the unrated cut. Yeah, I may have kept that crappy extended play 2-movie collection if the second one was unrated. But even at the age of 13, I think I knew that it was like extended play. I think I knew that the quality sucked, but I think I would have dealt with it if it had been unrated. And as always, as we're getting close to the wrap-up time of the show, chat's getting slow. Oh, no. Stretching and cracking back. Rooster says, have you ever had a VCR eat your VHS? Haha, probably. Now if I ever watch a tape, I don't, fast forward or rewind. I'll just put a movie in and just let it play and then eject it. I've got one of them VHS rewinder things that I got at another video store I worked at. But I'm sure I've, had a VCR eat a tape. It's a bummer, especially if it's something like something home video or something that's like important and not replaceable. I think it's happened to all of us, anyone who's used a VCR enough. Austin says, I knew about extended play back then as well, and I was way younger. Yeah. The funny thing about long play tapes, because in the 80s, 1988 or 89, I got the Video Treasures version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that was recorded in LP, long play. And before I had a VCR capable of recording in LP mode, what would happen is if you fast forward or rewound it while the movie was playing, the screen would go black, because that because if a VCR only recorded an EP or SP, when you fast forwarded an LP tape, it just went black. I always thought that was weird. And then later on, I'd get a VCR that would record an LP, and I think if you fast forward or rewinded it while you were playing it, you could see it. That's a fun little history fact. Austin says, I thought it looked like shit even at 8 or 9 years old. Yeah. Just because you're a kid doesn't mean you can't discern shit. Austin says, hell, the cable/TV versions had better picture quality. Yep. Got that right. Rooster says, I almost wouldn't dare put a valuable VHS in a VCR now. Yeah, I hear you. That's why I don't fast forward or rewind anymore. Just to also just to to not put the VCR through much, to go easy on both the player and the tape. I just, if I watch a VHS, I'll just put it in and just let it play. I won't fast forward or anything. Rooster says, I got a VHS of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 that has Dennis Hopper on the cover. That's weird. Yeah, I've got some that I'm going to showcase in the coming weeks. I've got the original. I've got two of the original media releases of the first Chainsaw, and then I've got the original. Let's see here. Yeah, media release of Chainsaw 2 as well. But then I've got, that came out in the 90s, a VHS of Chainsaw 2 from Elite Entertainment, which I'll show as well. But I've got Chainsaw 3 on VHS, or at least I used to. I don't know where the hell that is. I'll have to try to find that. Rooster says, yeah, the 90s re-release. Yeah, I'm not exactly. Oh, that the MGM? Okay, that's probably the MGM VHS. I can picture the cover. Oh, okay, Austin already said that. He said Iron Rooster. Yeah, that was the MGM movie times VHS. Austin says MGM had a VHS line back in the 90s called Movie Time, and they always use really shitty new cover art. Laugh out loud. Isn't that something? How as the years go on, like the cover art gets worse. Shouldn't it be the opposite? Like everything just goes to shit over time. But I found some VHSs that I'll be showcasing, and of course I've got a whole plethora more laserdiscs to show you guys. It's just gotta weather's gotta warm up so I get motivation to do it. But that stuff will be coming sooner than later. Those videos, because I think people watch those more than they watch my reviews anyway. And they're much you can really bang out a bunch of showcasing videos really quick. Austin says the Scanner's movie time cover is so bad. Yeah, I can't say I know which one. I can't say I know what it looks like. Rooster says I seen sealed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 media versions sealed sell on eBay for 20 last year. That was kind of cheap for it. Jesus, I'd say. I remember Video Treasures also put out a version of that in the late 80s as well, with the slightly altered, I think it's the same basic cover, but slightly altered. All right, guys, why don't we start saying our goodbyes so I don't have to just cut you off. Austin says the movie time VHS for Child's Play was okay since they used the old cover, but they zoomed in for some dumb reason. The people who became responsible for cover arts really are idiots, like in the late 90s and the 2000s. It's just like, Jesus Christ. And I showcase what happened to the DVDs, the first DVDs of the Friday the 13th movies too, when it got into like 2001 and 2002. It started off good where the first four movies were using the original, the classic cover art and stuff. And by the time you got to 5, 6, 7, and 8, the artwork for the first releases in North America, DVD releases of Friday the 13th movies, just went to shit. Rooster says laugh out loud. I don't know what he's laughing at. Austin says they were laugh out loud. I think maybe he's talking about the first DVD releases of Friday 5 through 8. I'm just glad that like the first four have the original covers of the DVDs. Rooster says that's the beauty of 80s horror awesome cover art, not to mention awesome movies. Austin says those Friday the 13th DVD covers are the worst ever. Oh my God. From 5 through 8. And then it seems to me like on the back of, I don't know how it goes, on the back of 6, there's a shot of Roy Jason from 5 or something like that. I don't know. It's something like that. All right, guys, I'm T-minus 1 minute and counting. And I'll be, Austin likes to keep asking questions to try to keep me to stay, but I'm going to leave right around the 2-hour mark. So it looks like Rooster's saying See you. Cool show. He's getting it. He's getting that the show's going to end soon. And Austin, of course, keeps talking. He says, I'm glad Scream Factory finally gave us back the original covers for Friday the 13th. I'm right with you there. Thank you very much, Scream Factory. And not only that, but 3D version of Part 3, frickin' finally. He also says, except New Beginning got kind of shafted in the new box set. Yeah, I mentioned that in my review of that release as well. Yeah, give us the classic goofy home video cover for Part 5. Austin says, okay, goodbye, laugh out loud. Rooster says, accept Part 5. All right, guys, thank you very much for listening. Hope to see you guys next time. No song this week. No song. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.